How to gear Vera for max damage. Today we're going to look into that by comparing 4 different gear sets in 2 areas of content. We're going to wrap it up by looking at the artifacts that she wears. I think the results may surprise you guys, so get ready. Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Benny, and today we're going to kick off a series that is going to cover gearing your heroes. Now, there's a lot of nuances into testing all the different gear sets, and we've spent a great deal of time eliminating as much RNG as possible so we can get good, accurate results. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the skills and awakenings, but we do want to take a quick look at them just to kind of go over the highlights. Let's start with her talent. The thing to know here is that whenever you're building a team with her, if you can put other marksmen on the team, it's a good thing, because every time they use their ultimate, she is going to load an impact round instead of a precision round. The impact round will give her another 100% damage, and it'll double the defense break from 15 to 30%. So if you have a lot of marksmen and they're using the ultimate quite a bit, it's going to give Vera a good damage buff. Her ultimate is basically she's going to replace the precision rounds with tactical rounds. The tactical round will do 450% damage, and it ignores all of their defense. It's pretty huge. She's also going to inflict a stun for 1 second, and you put a 20% vulnerability on them for 5 seconds. Her regular normal shot is a precision round. She's going to consume the entire magazine, then she will stop and reload the magazine. The one thing I can say that is unfortunate is you have to kind of watch, because if she stops and reloads during, the boss's vulnerable stage or during a shield break stage, it's unfortunate. So you need to time that up a little bit with key times during the fight if you can. Her passive here is each time she consumes ammo, she gains a 3% damage increase. That's going to keep stacking until she has to reload, and every time she reloads, it's going to reset that. She also gains a 20% anti-air damage for every 5 rounds that she consumes, and that lasts for 10 seconds. And then her other passive is Ricochet, so whenever she's consuming an impact or a tactical round, she launches a counter or a copied attack 1 time at the same target, and it's reduced by 30%, and this can only happen once every 10 seconds. Her awakenings, quickly, the first awakening that she's going to get, she will basically, Ricochet will do away with that interval, so it can happen more frequently than once every 10 seconds. It's pretty good awakening. I don't think it's anything like critical, but it helps. Her 2 is going to get 300 damage, or 300 attack, excuse me. Number 3 is whenever her marksman allies do their ultimate and she gets the impact round, instead of 1, she's going to get 2 if you have her awaken 3. On her 4th awakening, she's going to get 15% crit damage. So her 5th awakening is whenever the hero consumes any round of ammunition, if the magazine is not empty, there's a 25% chance that she's going to restore 1 corresponding round of ammunition. That works really well with her passive, the one that resets every time she has to reload. This will keep her from having to reload as often, and that'll allow the stacks of damage to increase more. So the 5th awakening, I believe, is probably going to be her best one. But for today's purposes, we are testing her at a 0. Alright, for the testing, I'm going to let a couple of the runs run in the background while we talk about how we did it. You can see the setup and the placement here. I used Dial Chan for the inspiration, and I used Elwyn for the rage regen, and I've got a lord there Yovar has escaped me every time he's been on banner, so wasn't able to use him as the Lord on this, but alright, so first up we ran with 4 sets of gear, and I'm going to show you the stats of all 4 sets of gear side by side just for comparison purposes. It took a lot of work to get the gear this close as far as the stats are concerned. I still have 2 areas highlighted in yellow that I want to improve upon in the future for testing, but for now this was as close as I could get it. You can see the crit damage across the board is, it's pretty much the same. It's just as close as you're going to get it. The speed is also the same except for the Infernal Roar. Infernal Roar, I need to get about 15 to 18% more speed to make it comparable to all the other ones. But for now, it's close enough. And then on the attack, Soulbound Arcana is a little bit below. It's about 85 to 90 below the other ones, but it's still as close as I could get it. And for the testing purposes right now, I think that it's not going to make that much of a difference. Crit rate on all sets were above 100, and the rage regen was at 0 across the board. So very comparable gear sets. The first one we tested was Infernal Roar. We done 3 runs on Gear Boss 3, Nightmare 3. You can see that the runs were fairly consistent. They were all within 500 or so of each other. Run 2 was a little low, but they averaged out at 113.1 million. So good baseline there, and that's where we started. Now we done Soulbound Arcana next. One thing that I've seen in other testing videos is people don't cycle the alts for Soulbound Arcana. They just leave it and let it come up naturally. And to me, that's a waste, because to really be fair, you should cycle some alts or ults to get Soulbound Arcana up to max. There's no reason to leave it like that. So in all fairness, we cycled Dial Chan's alt a couple of times and got it up to the 50% damage increase. Even still, it came in just slightly above Infernal Roar, which was a little bit surprising, but you know, the runs were really consistent, and so was the placements, and everything was consistent, so that's where we ended up with that. Next up, we done Cataclysm. Cataclysm came in at almost 116 million. Very good gear set. It's just put it on and drop your hero and away they go. No need to ult cycle or anything to get it up to speed. So it came in number 2. And believe it or not, Hell's Lament, which is a gear set that I really don't see recommended that often for anybody except for like Dracula, but Hell's Lament came in first, and by a good margin. You're talking about like over 2 million more damage just on Guild Boss 3. That's a lot of damage. And plus, it's a set that I believe is underutilized on some people's account, because, you know, we're always trying to push everything is wearing Cataclysm and everything is wearing Soulbound Arcana. So it starts looking, you know, I've only got so many sets to use. So having somebody that's utilizing Hell's Lament is a big positive. So, yeah. There are 2 real options as far as artifacts are concerned. You have Spirit Siphon and Blightcaller's Claw. On paper, Spirit Siphon looks to be the stronger of the 2. You know, it's increasing damage dealt to the same target by 10%, with each consecutive hit up to 3 stacks, making it 30%. This damage bonus is lost when attacking a different target. Of course, if you're doing boss content, you're doing the same target, so there's no swapping. So you should be holding a 30% increase the entire fight, because I mean it's basically three attacks and then you're good. And then the Lightcaller's Claw increases single target damage by 20%. Each basic attack has a 15% chance of triggering a special attack that deals 100% physical damage to one target. Trigger intervals 4 seconds. So there is some RNG in Lightcaller's Claw, which is why I use Spirit Siphon for all the testing, because there's no RNG in that. But on a side-by-side comparison, you can see that the Blightcaller's is, almost 4% better as far as damage is concerned than the Spirit Siphon. I'm not sure why Spirit Siphon comes in so far below 30%, but I've done this run several times with several of the different gear sets, and it's all pretty much the same. It's all hovering around 26%. I would think that it would have been 30, or at least 29.5 or something, but no, it comes in about 26. So I don't know if it's a coding thing or what have you, but in this scenario, definitely use the Blightcaller's Claw on Vera. Alright, so guys, just to kind of recap, I told you that we've done it in 2 different contents. Here are the overall side-by-sides for everything that we have. You can see the Nightmare 3, Hell's Lament, and then you can also see in APOC 1, Hell's Lament exceeded everybody by quite a good margin. Like I said, we did a whole lot to make sure that the runs were consistent, the placements were exactly the same, and that as much RNG was taken out as possible. With the APOC 1 runs, the way that I've done the first 3 phases, so just kind of like a whole cycle of APOC, and stopped it at exactly the same spot after the poison round every time. So much so that I got the same numbers several times with even different sets. You can see in the Cataclysm, run 1 and 3 are exactly the same. In the Infernal Roar, all 3 runs were identical. Hell's Lament, run 2 and 3, the same thing. So very consistent testing there amongst it all. We did use Eloin as the healing for consistency, and we also used the Spirit Siphon for consistency. We're looking at how we can do the same thing and have the same good results with AoE heroes. It's a little bit more challenging with the AoE heroes. There's not good content that we can just kind of run like a Nightmare 3 run or an APOC run. We are looking at doing it with the Matrix and just to kind of see how that goes. But once again, the consistency factor and the elimination of the RNG is so important to get great results. So my suggestion to you is, if you have Hell's Lament and you're looking at gearing Vera, definitely go that route as long as the stats are pretty equivalent to each other. One thing I will say, that speed is really important on her, and so is attack, but don't believe everything that you hear about the attack being the end-all be-all, because we did do a run to where we had we took out some of the speed and we took out some of the crit damage, and we added about 1500 attack power, and it actually came in far below what it should have. So attack is definitely important, but don't compromise your speed and your crit damage too much. It's not just tack to the moon and forget everything else. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video and found some of the information helpful, would appreciate a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to do a lot more of these and hopefully get better as we go, and I appreciate you watching.